This is the Eye for an Eye channel. Welcome to today's show. Humans may be fueling global warming by breathing, according to a new study. Are you catching on yet? Is anybody out there not aware of, are you figuring it out? Do they know the most basic things, like when we talk about carbon emissions, that humans emit carbon? Thus, the carbon emission they want to remove is you. And now they're telling you that humans may be fueling global warming by breathing, and nobody's getting it yet. They think that the carbon emissions have to do with factory buildings and cars. It's you. And eventually, when you let them put this infrastructure in place of a carbon footprint, eventually they're going to come around and they're going to say, hey, guess what? The scientists are saying that humans are emitting a lot of carbon too these days. So we're going to have to limit our time outside to about an hour a day. Oh, okay, now we're going to have to limit to an hour a week. And then we're going to make it 30 minutes of recess time, and that's it. And your groceries will get delivered to your door by Amazon, and your medicine will get delivered, and you'll be enslaved in your prison cell called your home. Let me read this article to you now. But first, let me just remind everybody out there, I've been on a strike period here on Eye for an Eye for a couple of weeks. So if you haven't seen my content, I'm over now on United Uprising. It's linked below. Please make sure, if you haven't subscribed yet, that you do so now and get over to that channel, because I'm going to be mixing my content between these channels for the time being. And again, one more strike on this channel I'm talking on right now, and this channel is permanently deleted, which means we will permanently lose touch with one another. You won't be able to find me because I'll have a new name. You'll say, I remember that guy. I think, what happened to him? And you'll try to search me and you won't find me. So take the time now to subscribe. And if you haven't joined the website yet, Uprising Revival, I highly recommend you do that today. Join the website. Go over there. If you don't want to pay $2.99 to join the site, it's $2.99 for the month for unlimited, uncensored content, a forum that is active 24/7. If you don't want to do that, I highly recommend you just click on free videos and submit your email. You will get email notifications for the immediate future and the long-term future, unless they kill me, of where I am uploading. Whatever content I'm uploading that is free content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Rumble, wherever I am. That way we don't lose touch with one another. So I recommend you do that at the minimum. But please make sure you sub to my backup channels. Now there will be new content going on there. There's content that you've missed out on in the last couple of weeks that you need to see. And there's content including what's going on with Donald Trump and the 13 states that are now trying to remove him from the ballot, and all the coding there with the 13 colonies, the Civil War, and how they are trying to break this country down by design, the communist Democrats and the communist Republicans, to bring in their globalist government. Okay? It is a global one world order. Everybody knows it at this point, and they're psychologically working everyone into it. So let's look back at this now. Humans may be fueling global warming by breathing. When an article like this comes out, shouldn't everybody have a light bulb go off in their head and say, what the beep? Huh? Wait a minute, what? No, but instead, what are these people out there who are so pro-environment, etc.? What are they thinking when they hear this? Are they just thinking, yeah, they're right. They're right. Humans are. So are they going to convince them that a mass genocide needs to occur? I mean, we're already pretty much going through one. A lot of people poisoned themselves recently. A lot of people are getting sick with other things and thinking that it's not a correlation between the two. So we know mass genocide's occurring, but are people okay with it? Is this to convince people? Because if you support and you actually fall for the climate change agenda, if you're dumb enough to fall for this and you think that all this stuff with the weather is happening because people are littering out their windows and trucks have emissions and cars, etc., and airplanes, and you're not, and at the same time, these people are okay with their favorite politicians flying around, or their favorite, executives like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos flying around in private jets. They don't care about that because they worship and love them, but they just don't seem to understand that they're talking about getting rid of us as humans. So are they looking at this and just going, yeah, they're right. We need to get rid of humans. Are they convincing them to start annihilating humans? I think they are. And I think eventually they're going to say, look, these conservative people, these Christian people, they're the ones that we got to get rid of because they're not falling into line and they're hateful and they're bigots. And they'll say, you know what, it's good for the environment, kill them. Kill them. And it really is heading towards that. So humans may be fueling global warming by breathing, according to a new study. Exhaled human breath can contain small elevated concentrations of methane and nitrous oxide, both of which contribute to global warming. According to research released last week in the UK, the methane and nitrous oxide exhaled exhaled by humans make up about 0.1 of the UK's greenhouse gas emissions, the write-up said. The gases are in addition to the carbon dioxide that humans exhale. So let's just pause for a second and look at basic science. I've covered this so much over the years, right? How they also want to block out the sun. They also are taking down trees, right? Things that would help. If this was actually true, this would help with this is how photosynthesis works, right? Remember learning that in like 4th grade, right? Well, they're telling you that we actually need to burn trees down now to help. I mean, everything they're telling us makes no sense, but somehow people are believing it. And then when they start coming out telling you that, hey, did you know that humans are responsible for global warming? Not by their behavior, actually by breathing. And they're still not getting it yet, right? So first it starts with behavioral control, which is controlling where you go, when you go, and how long you're allowed to go somewhere, right? How long are you allowed to leave your house? How long are you allowed to go here? That's all that it is. It's about behavioral control. They're going to control your behavior through what they allow you to do and what they don't allow you to do. This will all be through technology. This is called your carbon footprint, which they've talked about over and over again, right? So eventually, it won't be about your behavior. It'll actually be them convincing people that we need to extinct and kill people, right? This will be them going back to the old Georgia Guidestones that they conveniently blew up to create a psyop around. Of course, that was really about getting their time capsule out underground that they told you wasn't there. Of course, it was there. It was all done by design. There was a specific day to blow that thing up and a specific time to go and get that time capsule, okay? So that obviously was sitting there telling us about how we need to get the population to 500 million, and of course, all through nature. So you see how these connect? Through nature, through climate, how we're going to get the population down, right? And all of a sudden, these people start worshiping the climate, kind of like what witches claim that they do, right? They worship trees and grass and silent farts and everything else that witches worship. You see where this is all headed? Apparently, people don't. So if you're young out there, you need to get awake and see, and realize what's occurring here, because your future's at stake. If you like to be free, then you're going to want to start fighting against these communist climate enslavement agendas that they're pushing. So they say we report only emissions in breath in the study, and flatus emissions are likely to increase these values significantly, though no literature characterizes these emissions for people in the UK. And of course, they're going to start talking about farts. And they're going to say that, well, farts are part of the climate problem too. And those farts, we realize that we can measure farts through how much meat people eat. So we need to get rid of meat too, right? So then they'll control every single thing you put in your body, every single motion and movement you make, every single thought. You're literally going to be no longer human. And that's what this is headed towards. So they go on to say, assuming that livestock and other wild animals also exhale emissions of N2O, there may still be a small but significant unaccounted for source of N2O emissions in the UK, which could account for more than 1% of national scale emissions. Gas concentrations in the study samples allowed researchers to estimate that human breath accounts for 0.05% of the UK's methane emission. So anyway, I know it's boring when I'm reading, they're like, and CO2 and N2O. No, they pretty much want you to read this and just dismiss it. So I'll just give you the summary. I'll give you the cliff notes. They want to lower carbon emissions, and the carbon emission they want to lower and remove is you, period. It's so insane that people are falling for this, that they even believe some of the liberal stuff where they talk about, hey, we could help the climate out by burning trees. Well, why would you want to burn trees, right? We need trees for oxygen, right? Nobody's thinking about that, right? What about well, we need trees, don't we? Carbon emissions to oxygen, this whole process of photosynthesis. Oh, no, we don't need that anymore. Because remember, science has changed, right? Actual, real, you don't want to call it science, you call it whatever you want, common sense. They call it science, but that's changed, right? Two basic sciences, photosynthesis and what a man is and what a woman is. Those don't exist anymore. It's a new science, right? It's a new science called insanity. So people are on board with this, and eventually people are going to be convinced that we do need to remove human beings, that we do need to look at it and say, hey, you know what? These people are breathing, too much. And then when they start saying, your carbon footprint isn't enough, because they'll say, well, okay, and then I guess you don't leave your home at all. And then they start saying, yeah, but the people who are breathing in their homes are still breathing. It's coming out through the windows or whatever they'll make up. And they'll say, well, eventually, we just need to kill people. There's too many people. It's affecting, 100 years from now, there'll be nobody left unless we kill off the population. And these people who are once normal, who don't realize how the propaganda has spread through their mind, through the influence of social media, the influence of all the propaganda that they push and the social influencers, etc., that they're literally training them into being mass murderers, because they're going to call for the execution of human beings and think that it's righteous and that it's the right thing to do, because if we don't do it, eventually there'll be no earth and no one will be alive. And this is for the future of humanity. So we need to kill people for the future of humanity. And they don't realize how this goes all the way back into pagan rituals, really just what I call satanic, Luciferian rituals about human sacrifice. That's what this is all headed towards. That's what it's headed towards, and it's getting people to accept it. Because people right now, if you told them and you were like, yeah, some person who's big into the clan, you're like, oh, let's kill somebody in a satanic blood ritual who bail. They'll be like, what? I don't know about that. Well, eventually, if you start telling them this stuff and you start telling them about these deities, these goddesses and gods that these people worship, and you start saying, oh, they do that because they love the environment and they're not really what they claim that they are, the Christians, they're just crazy. And then we'll do a ritual, we'll get rid of them, it'll be a nice goodbye for them, and we'll eat their flesh, and that'll help, go back into the soil, back into society, back into the atmosphere, back into the atmosphere. And we'll just keep doing it over and over. And then these people will just be doing, it'll be like watching The Wicker Man, right? Some of these videos, movies I've covered in the past, Midsummer, right? These solstice movies where they do these giant rituals. Everyone's in like a white gown. They don't even realize they're watching actual witchcraft satanic rituals. They're like, no, that's not what they're doing. Why are they burning the man inside the Wicker Man? Why are they conditioning people with Burning Man events, right? And just conditioning people for human sacrifice, because that's what it's headed towards. And the climate agenda, people just dismiss it because they hear it. It doesn't sound exciting to even talk about. They're like, they just think of green and green colors and it's about science, everybody helping out. They don't realize, if they came out and they're like, the climate agenda, we're going to kill everybody. People would wake up pretty quick. But if you read between the lines, they're subtly telling you this. They're telling you that what they want to get rid of is you. You're the thing. You're the carbon-based life form. How many times have we heard over the years about carbon-based life form? Oh, humans, carbon-based life form. You're the carbon they want to remove. And they're telling you this on a day in and day out basis. A reminder again, if you haven't subbed to my backup channels, take the time now to do it. This is the end of the video. If you haven't gone over to the website, Uprising Revival, go over now, check it out. Join the website. It's a pay site. It's troll-free. It's ad-free. It's $3, the price of a bottle of water for a month's worth of content. It's not just uncensored videos of me. It's the forum. You will learn. You will interact with other like-minded people where you could share links, stuff that you can't do on YouTube or Facebook anymore. You can't share posts. They block those things out. You could do that on the website. All different topics over there that might interest you, whether it's the shape of the earth, whether it's the Mandela effect, whether it's just straight up secret societies and the occult, whether it's the Project Bluebeam that's coming, whether it's politics, any of it. It's all over there. Everybody shares stuff with each other. I learn from people. People learn from. It's a never-ending process of actually learning real stuff instead of the bull crap we've been taught our entire lives, which is just to keep us in this simulated reality, to think the stuff they tell us is real when it's not. So definitely check out the website if you haven't. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.